Log recording. It's is it the 20? It is the 25th of September 2023. I'm not even alive or awake for this shit in the morning. 1:31 in the morning. I should be alive or buried alive, like to where I am. Uh, Regency, Roseman, California. Yeah, yesterday I had to burr up my ass on this one here. I mean, I was going through the YouTubes and I came across in one of the theoretical progressive medias out there. I love to tell us what's going on these days, alert the public and everything else. And the thing is, what I kept coming across is there's one asshole named Matt Walsh, and I just did a video about this one. I'm going to send it out there. I'll send it out there, and I'm going to let this, not the actor Matt Walsh, who has been with the Hollywood Entertainment out there and seems to be a good guy. No, it's a conservative asshole out there. And I voiced my concerns to the schmuck. He on his show tells people that they're not entitled to vote. They're not privileged. They legally have it. And who says legally they have the right to do so in the first place, to vote? So yeah, basically being a First Amendment constitutionalist, I have an issue with that one. I say I'm a constitutionalist because I am. I really didn't understand what the terminology was until I took a political science class in a community college years ago, which I'm still going through the process right now. Speaking of which, I got a test coming up in several hours in a class that's dealing with math for liberal arts, and it's an interesting one. I have a presentation in English for critical thinking and literature that I got to do. I got a report that's going to be due in about 2 weeks. I got to research the living crap out of, and I'm doing it on the mental health. Now, these things I have to do. Nobody's pointing a gun at my head, said you will do this or you will not do this. It's things that I've chosen to do. I've chosen to go through a local community college, get a small ass degree, and consider it probably fulfilled or not. I don't know. But I know a long time ago, a few decades ago, I screwed things up to myself, for myself. And I'm still trying to correct the mistakes. I'm still trying to correct the mistakes I made a long time ago to myself. I mean, some things I still wanted to do and prove to myself that I can actually do this. I disappointed my family and I disappointed myself. And while I was working for more than 30 years and damn near got killed in the process, it made me that much more pissed off at myself. And I should have done this a long time ago, going through a college. Maybe I should have. But I didn't have the context, perspective. I didn't have the maturity. I sure as hell didn't have the gunness, the desire for it. Because if I did, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Or maybe worse than that, I don't know. All I do know is when I disappointed my mom a long time ago, she gave me two options: homeless, or you work your ass off full time. I learned the value of work. I learned the value of, besides work, there are rules, there are consequences. You break the rules, you deal with the consequences. The consequence I had was simple. If I couldn't do good in college, even after 2 years, and I get kicked out because the GPA wasn't there, and the consequences of that was get my ass either homeless or I learned how to work full time. And the thing is, I could do part time. There was no problem with me doing part time work. But my mother, who was the boss, and if I was living under her roof, this was the edict, and I followed it. I mean, there are different ways I can look at this thing. Different ways I could. I could look at it as she was totally unfair. How dare she? And I could probably do things myself better. No, because I didn't have the maturity, and I was scared shitless when I was a kid. Even going through college, I thought it was just a game. Yeah, there's a lot of things to learn and cram into your brain for 16 weeks, and it drives you crazy. But, college, you have to be mature enough to go through this damn thing to understand that you don't know your ass from a hot rock. And they know it. And they educate you about that shit. When I went through Pierce College, based out in Winnetka, California, it was part of the Los Angeles Community College District. And in that place, I was tested. Now, granted, I barely graduated out of high school anyway. I screwed up one year, and the consequence was making the year up, 11th grade. So I graduated not with my friends, but I graduated a year later than I should have. People, you go through 10th, 11th, and 12th, and then you graduate, right? No. 10th, 11th, 11th, and 12th. Guess I screwed up. I chose back then. The decisions I made. I thought I knew better. I didn't like one particular teacher. I didn't like this thing over here. And I was going to say, screw it. They're going to pass me anyway, so what the hell? No, they didn't. Well, the Unified said, no, you didn't do what we told you to do, so the consequence is you make up the 11th grade. And pissed me off. So any kind of privileges I really had to work on to earn back. And it was hard as hell. But that's how it worked. That's how it went. So here I am, graduated at 85, working part-time, lose a job because of illness. Well, when you have the attack of the killer, it's called chicken pox. I mean, shit. And I had to work part-time before I stepped into the golden hollow halls of Pierce College. Go through the damn bureaucratic mess. Try to get classes. I had an orientation with counselors. And then I go through the process. And then I had to struggle. And I didn't do very well. And the first semester, actually the first year, I was working my ass off on how to get my English degree. In the first year, I had gone to the bottom of the barrel of English. Sorry, I'm trying to get this shit off my damn lips here. And when you lose two top teeth, it becomes a bit pain in the ass to get stuff cleaned off your lips here. Uh, but yeah, I took the beginning English and then the intermediate English, and then finally I made English 101 the next year. For the first term, it was just getting through the English basics all over again, and then intermediate and how I write reports and deal with things, and barely passed that. And here I come, English 101. I'm able to get through that, and when I did, I was actually able to take care of another English course I wanted to take. I should have been taking American literature during that time, but I took English literature during that time. But then again, Frost and Yates and Coleridge. Coleridge took up residence in my brain. Right when the H. Mariner just never left. He's still there in my head. If I had taken American literature, maybe it would have been a hell of a lot different. Maybe Ralph Waldo Emerson, maybe Clemens would have been in my brain during that time. But no, I was into English literature during that time. But I had to take the basics. I wasn't even good at algebra. I hated algebra. Algebra was too damn logical. I hated logic. I kept telling myself that damn thing. And these days, I'm still trying to deal with logic. What's what follows a formula? And I really wasn't a formula kind of guy back then. Even now, I'm still hard as hell to deal with. But it is what it is. In politics, yeah, I took the government class 101. U.S. Politics 101. I listened to the instructor. I was trying to see what the hell he was talking about. He's trying to tell us about the Constitution and stuff, and it went over my head. I had taken the U.S. government in high school, so I barely understood the process of becoming an American citizen, how to vote and stuff. But when I got into class decades later, when I decided I was going to fix this damn thing in my head, and I was going to fix it for Ma, even though she's dead and Dave's dead. You know, before David died, I had taken U.S. government, actually U.S. Politics 101. I had taken a few more classes of that. I wanted to understand the system like I should have done a long time ago, but I didn't see that a long time ago. All I saw was the prerequisite. You take government. And after that, there was no other classes for me to take for government. And I wasn't interested in the politics during those days. I just didn't have the interest in educating myself that much. But I got a royal education out of that. When I said, screw college at this point, in my actions, and lied to my mother about this damn thing, holy crap. And there was the consequences right there. Two options. If you're going to be living under my mother's roof, you either work your ass off or you get the hell out of there and never come back. She'd become hot under the collar, especially if you get her pissed off enough. And sometimes she'll regret it. But me, I worked my ass off. And worked my ass off. And worked my ass off. And never got killed in the process. Before Ma passed away in 2013, I had already been injured on a job and damn near got killed in it. And I couldn't work after that. But I could try taking care of Ma at home, along with my brother. She passed and we got evicted, and long story short, here I am in an apartment complex. Dave's gone, Ma's gone, they're both ashes, they're in the urns up there. Now I depend upon Social Security for existence. But I go back to college. I get to go back to college and I get to prove to myself that I'm actually able to do this kind of stuff. I'm actually able to prove that I can work without working. I just go to college and do the work, paperwork. Buy books. Get notebooks. Get pens and paper. Listen to professors spew out their knowledge and challenge the students. Do we understand what the hell we're dealing with? I mean, do we actually understand what we are dealing with and doing? Do we understand the material? Do we understand why we went there in the first place? I'm on a government grant because of my status to go to college to improve myself, to enrich myself, to enlighten myself, to maybe to a point where I can contribute to society one way or another. Let them know what my abilities are now, to educate if I can. I didn't think of myself as an instructor or a teacher, but here I am. Before anything else happens, I gotta take my dog out. So before I continue any ranting, give me a second. Sorry about that. Dog had to go out. I didn't want her peeing all over the floor. College, I know, is an expensive thing to go through. And trust me, I know. Having gone through the system myself a long time ago, part time work, barely kept up with the tuition and the books and supplies needed, but Ma was able to give me some support, but the rest of it had to come from my own two hands. So I had to work my ass off. These days, they have generous grant if you're homeless or if you're disabled. I'm qualified for what they call the FAFSA. It's a federal student grant program they've got for those who actually qualify, and I do. Food stamps and Social Security. It means that it opens me up for possibilities to learn and maybe contribute down the road. Hopefully, one way or another. And I can demonstrate to people about what things matter the most and what doesn't matter the most. And what means something and what doesn't mean something. I can tell people what I've learned. Or else I can try pursuing something of, going for an educational degree to be a teacher or an instructor of sorts. I mean, it's possible. But it's a topic that I could talk about. But in the meantime, I'll share whatever kind of knowledge I've got to my channel if need be. Politics is a messy thing to get into. And hearing everybody else bitching and griping about what's going on these days. Hearing the progressive media's going after the regular media and also going after politicians left and right of what they mean, what they don't mean, and what kind of nonsense people are spewing out. And this is the kind of thing we have to deal with, isn't it? I mean, I know there's one guy out there who considers himself quite knowledgeable, a journalist, and his own observations he talks about. And me, I'm a lot longer winded than he is. There's other people trying to show people what they think they should watch and dictate their actions for them. I'm sorry, I don't do that kind of thing. I try not to bellyache about other people unless there's something to bellyache about. But that means I've turned into a male Karen at this point. Is somebody going to be telling me about my rights, according to him, that I'm not supposed to have, according to him, because nobody guaranteed it? I'm not privileged for it? That's why I did the video prior to this one and just said to him. Told him a lot worse. I told him a lot worse on that one. Past couple of months, we've had the writers on strike, and now they're getting into tentative deals going on. We had actors on strike, They're actually going through it first. Things happening that may or may not affect me one way or another. I have to pay attention to these kind of things. I don't pay attention to somebody else trying to act like a fool and idiot if they wanted to. Except, of course, they're going to try to tell me what I can or can't say or do. Then it's a different thing altogether. Other than that, today I got to get through. There's a presentation to be done in my English class, and more stuff to learn, and more material to write up about my essay. There is a major test happening in my math class that's not dealing with mathematics or anything else in the numbers, but it is dealing with logic and word problems and how to look at things in a different way. Some things I'm going to have to get used to, or other things I'm going to have to fight. I understand some of the policies, I understand some of the things I've learned. And how they are applicable in life itself is a different story altogether, especially when I've got a professor who says, well, no, these people over here use this thing. I'm like, no, they don't. No, they don't. I had a professor who's telling me that the way he's trying to teach us things is what the legal system goes through. I'm like, no, it does not. What the hell are you talking about? Crap. They don't do truth tables to find the truth, you idiot. They deal with facts. They deal with what's in front of them. And then they start tearing that thing apart, whether or not the fact is actually a fact or not. But they don't do truth tables to figure this shit out. Only in the world of academia does this stuff is applicable. But outside the world of academia, we deal with reality. But I'll learn the terminology. I'll squeak by if I can. But I understand this. We have our own way of trying to figure shit out left and right. But I'll be damned if I'm going to have someone else trying to tell me that I am not privileged or entitled for voting. Don't get me started on this one. You'll lose.